As we continue to build your exercise program, my favorite, I think yours too, is strength training. So again, I got my daughter Kristen back here as my model. But strength training is the fountain of youth. People ask me all the time, what's the benefit of strength training? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's the fountain of youth. Hormones, bone health, muscle, greater fitness, overall health, and it builds your metabolism. So more and more people are trying to burn calories and they spend all this time and energy. Strength training is the fountain of youth. It helps to burn that, increase that engine. We could spend a lot of time talking about so many different movements. I'm going to talk about the basics today, but I want to start with this. It's form. When you think about overall strength training, you got to pay attention to your form. Also, I want you to understand the 3 R's of strength training. Number 1 is range and motion. What's the range? So before we add intensity, we add range. Number 2 is the rate, how fast or slow. And number 3 is the resistance. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about sets and reps. How many sets do you want to do? We might start with 1 set of 8 repetitions, or you might move to 2 sets of 10 repetitions. We'll get into a little bit about that. But the big thing I want you to think about right now is body alignment and posture. And then I want you to think about the 3 R's, range, rate, and resistance. So we're going to start with the real basics here. When you think about upper body, here's what I want you to remember. As I turn Kristen around, these are her shoulder blades or scapula. When the shoulder blades come down and in, you create more space in the shoulder. So when I see people in the gym doing a tricep push down or a bicep curl or a chest press or a push up, and the scapula keeps coming apart, you create less space in the shoulder, hence I started having rotator cuff problems. So really this is the big thing, all upper body exercises, I want you to think about scapular retraction, which is the scapula down and in. And when you do that, you create more space and it creates safety. So here's the real basic upper body movements we're going to start with the chest. We're going to start with a push-up. So if you picked one upper body exercise, this is probably one of them. Now, if I come down here right now, Kristen has her hands a little wider than shoulder width apart. Her fingers are spread. Her feet are down, her knees are down. This is an easy push-up to do, and you can see her head's perfectly aligned. So her head's not dropped down, her head's not way up in the air. It's perfectly aligned with her spine. And now Kristen actually scapular retracts. Her shoulder blades are coming together. And as she goes down, her nose is going to go between her hands, and her elbows are out. And as she comes up, the scapula is retracted or tight together. Goes down and back up. So again, most people can do a push-up, not a problem, but can they do it with their scapula being tight together the whole time? This is really critical. So it's the quality of the movement, not just the movement itself. So this is a learning tool of scapular retraction. So if you're not strength training at all, this is a great place to start right here. Now, if I want to make this a little more challenging, Kristen's going to slide the pad back a little bit farther. Her legs are going to come up. We're going to create a little bit more intensity. This is a modified push-up. So now, same thing, scapula is retracted, her chest comes between her hands, same exact movement, but this is staying nice and tight. So if you can do the chicken peck push-up, no problem, scapular retraction, then you can move to the modified. And again, if Kristen can do 8 reps of these, perfect form, maybe 2 or 3 sets, and relax, really nice, then I'm going to go to the next level, and this is a full-blown push-up. So when you look at a full-blown push-up, before she moves, her shoulders, her head, her hips, all in the same alignment. When people are doing a plank, I tell people all the time, you don't have to do a normal plank if you're doing a push-up, because this is a plank. So her legs are engaged, her core is engaged. Right now, feels like she's getting tired. Now she's going to scapular retract. Ooh, that scapular retraction's hard. Now her elbows go out, and I'm just going to have her do 3 of these. 1 more. And relax, rest. Good work. So again, begin chicken pack modified into the full-blown push-up. Push-up's fantastic exercise, works your entire body. All right, so I'm in the gym. We're going to do a chest press for your chest. So let's grab some dumbbells. So when you're in the gym, if you're doing a chest press movement, a machine, or you're going to do a dumbbells, whatever it might be, I love working dumbbells sometimes because it works on balance. But you can see her dumbbells are going to be at the end of her knees, and her arms are going to stay nice and straight as she comes down to put less stress on her shoulders. Get the arms up. Now her knees are going to be down, so her knees are slightly higher than her hips, so quite high, protects the back. So as I come back behind her, the first thing we're going to do is scapular retraction. So as she comes down and does a chest press, Elbows go to 90 degrees right here. And as she comes up, the elbows come up and in. So imagine you have a beach ball here full of air. Goes down. And as she comes up, she's squeezing the air out of the beach ball. Beautiful. Scapula still retracted. Now she's going to work her chest muscles, her front part of her shoulder, her triceps, working the entire core. Now if I want to make this harder for her, I could have her take her feet up. Now she has to work on balance. So now her core's engaged. If I want to add a little bit more to this, we might even add a fly movement. Now we're taking the triceps out of it and we're working the biceps, which makes the movement a lot harder. So again, great easy chest exercises to do right here. All right, now she's done. She's going to put her in, and you can put your dumbbells away. So again, lots of different ways to work your chest and your entire core. Push-ups, chest press, dumbbells. These are easy ways to do it. You can do flies, but it's always the same. Remember, these are just movements. This is like a playground. Once you get the movements down, you got them forever. So if I'm in the gym doing a standing cable fly, I still scapula retract. If I'm doing a push-up and I'm doing an incline push-up, I'm still scapular retraction. So it doesn't really matter what modality you're doing. It's still the same movements. All right, from here we're going to work your back. So grab your pad. Now this is one of my favorites right here. We can teach people how to do a pull-up. Before we even do a pull-up, we're going to do a lat pull-down. And Kristen's going to line up her feet. So again, everything begins with the floor. So now anytime you're in the gym, every exercise starts from the floor. So I want to make sure her feet are lined up, her knees are lined up, perfect alignment with her core. When you do a lat pull down, her lats are going to come down and in, right? So as she goes all the way up, just go all the way up and hold it. So when she's all the way up here, I want her to pull it down about 2 inches, just working her scapula, and release it. This is what most people are not using in the gym. They're just using their arms. They're not using their back. So one of the benefits of a lat pull down, you really want to work these. So again, if I'm working on somebody getting a healthier back, my back's bothering me, or get these big muscles going. And then from there, I want her to pull her chest to the bar, not the bar to the chest, all the way back up. So you can see as she comes down, this is not going any much lower than her, just below her chin. So when people pull it behind the head, let's pull it behind the head. Now we've lost our alignment, okay? So again, when you do a lat pull down, it's always in front, scapular retraction, and away we go. Now if I want to change the intensity here, I could have her move her hands closer together. Same movement pattern, just changing the range. So as I move her hands closer, keep them closer, move your hands close, 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 close. Now her range is really increased, right? So again, you can see how this is just over and over and over. You could change this up. All right, relax, good work. So really a great exercise for your back, your biceps, your core. All right, so let's grab. I love using tubing. The colors, the yellow's the easiest, then the green, then the red, then the blue. So again, you can change your intensity that way. But we're gonna do we're gonna start with a row. Now you're at home, you can do a machine at whatever. So I'm just gonna have Kristen grab the handles. We have a blue here because it's a row. And she's gonna, you can see her alignment looks great. And I'm right here. So you could do this with another person. You could put this around a pole. Really simple. I'm at home. I don't have a person. I'm just wrapping it around a pole. Okay, wait a minute. Got to get ready here. So as my chest, look at her chest. Chest is up, shoulders are down. Her spine looks perfect. She's engaging her legs. Fantastic. And as she pulls, imagine you have a piece of fruit and you're squeezing the juice of the fruit. So imagine you have an orange in the middle of your back. So now she's working her biceps. She's working her core. She's got to stabilize. Really easy ways to go here. So again, look at her range of motion. Number one is range. Really good. Her resistance. Got the blue band. And now let's go super slow. Now we're changing the rate. Now we're adding a little speed. So you can see this goes on and on how you want to change this up. So 2 fantastic back exercises, a lat pull down in a row. All right, good work. All right, from here we're going to work your shoulders. So let's grab a yellow band and your 5-pound dumbbells over there. So people ask the question, do you use machines, dumbbells? It doesn't matter. The body has no idea. It's just resistance. Okay? So she's using an easier band. This is yellow. And the first thing we're going to do is pay attention to her alignment. So everything begins with the ground up, so her feet are lined up. She could spread her legs apart if she wanted to, but for now I'm going to have her feet together. That's called centering. And when she goes up, she's going to form a T at the top, working her outside of her shoulder. So just forming a T. Again, I'm looking at her ear. Everything's lined up. If she brought her arms all the way up, a little bit too high, we don't want that. Don't want her hands out in front. I want it straight out to the side. So hold it right there. Yep, forming a T at the top. Now she's working those shoulders, the arms, her core. Everything's lined up back down. So this is a simple side raise. Number 2, this is called toy soldier. She's just going to take one arm out in front. Now she's working her biceps going up and her triceps coming back, front part of her shoulder, back part of her shoulder, working her core. So simple to do. And then from there, she's going to step off the band. Let's do this. Hold on. Let's do a shoulder press. Here's an exercise that most people get wrong. She starts at 90 degrees. What does that mean? Right from the shoulder joint. If the elbow goes too low, puts way too much pressure on the AC joint, jams up that shoulder. She starts right here. Then as she goes up, she just drives the hands up and in. So now she's working her front part of her shoulder, her triceps. So if you're going to do a shoulder press, make sure you're starting at 90 degrees and ending at 90 degrees. All right, now we're going to work the back, doing your wide pulls. So she's going to step off the band. She's going to wrap it around. And now she's going to get her legs apart, really apart. We're going to add a squat to this. So not right yet, but we're going to start out. So all she's doing right now is working the back of her shoulder. So she's going to pull across her body. So simple. And now she's going to add a little movement to it. So now we're going to add a little range. So she's going to squat first, and pull as you stand up. That's it. Squat first. All right, real quickly. Grab the dumbbells. Same exact movements. I'm just going to show you. Same thing. She's got 5-pound dumbbells here. Now the first thing we talked about is range. So what if you made your movement smaller? And then came up a little bit more. So let's go halfway up and hold it. Now we're into rate. So you can see how you can make this intensity hard. So that dumbbell might not be heavy for her, but now she's making it hard. So going all the way up. Number 2, here's toy soldier, single arm. Same exact movement. Add a little wrinkle to this. We're going to do both arms at the same time. All the way up. I love this exercise. And then I'm going to add a squat to this. So the feet are apart, squat all the way down. And then she's going to do a reverse fly. So she's just going to turn to the side, bend right over because she has to have gravity here. And now she's going to work the back of her shoulders again. Same thing we just did with a wide pull, just using dumbbells. So again, real simple, easy shoulder exercise to do. All right, let's put those away. You can set them right down. All right, let's grab 10 pounds right around the corner there. Yep. So now we're going to work her arms. She loves working her arms, right? Like to show off those arms. So the first thing we're going to do is perfect alignment for a bicep curl. Now I tell people all the time, we're not just working your arms, you're working your back, okay? So scapular retraction, come up to chest height. Simple to do. If she comes anything higher than chest height with her hands, go all the way up. You can see she now has got shoulder flexion. We don't want to do that. So we're only coming up to chest height, right to there. If you want to change your hand position here, this is called a hammer curl, getting her forearms like this. From here, she can go right into triceps, working the back of her arms. So this is called a tricep kickback. First thing Kristen's doing is scapular retraction. Working her triceps, fantastic. So again, simple ways to stimulate those arms and relax. If you went and did a tricep push down here, same thing, we want a scapular retraction, away we go. The last thing I want to show you from upper body is just working the forearms. So let's just do a quick wrist curl. Now, a lot of people never even talk about this, but to me, this is a weak link for many people, is the forearm and the wrist. So again, if I'm going to work my arms, my upper body, turn my hands over, this is called extension. So again, keep the entire chain strong. All right, great work. You can set those down. All right, so that's just some upper body exercise. We did chest, we did back, we did shoulders, we did arms. Now we're going to move into lower body. So the simplest exercise of all is learning how to squat. So let's start with a centering squat. Centering squat is the feet are together. Why the centering squat? Because it's the easiest on the knees and the hips. Okay? So we're going to squat down and hold it. And you can see her inner thighs are engaged. First thing we're going to work on is range of motion. How low can you go? Okay? As she comes up, she's going to add a row. All right, now we're going to spread the legs apart. Again, increasing the range. So before you start adding a lot of weights, we could put dumbbells in her hand. She could be doing a squat I haven't put a bar on my back in basically 20 years. We're going down, we're working on her range. If she want to make this, change rate. So now she can go fast or slow. Now let's go really slow. Actually, let's hold it. So when she's down there holding like this, I can make this more challenging by taking her arms out or having her arms right there. Now sink down. This is getting to be hard. All right, relax. So again, a couple different ways to squat, legs together, legs apart. Now from here, let's do a simple lunge. This is called a step back. One thing I love about a step back, everybody can do it. So before you lunge down, let's just take it back. Let's just say I came out of knee or hip replacements. I'm just going to start really stepping back, right? It's the safest lunge to learn. As time goes on, then I can add a little bit more range of motion. Let's turn a little sideways so everybody can see this. Now as you go back down, almost touch your knee, and then let's get your arms involved, right? So you can see she came up, put her foot here and touched. Now I'm going to add a little balance to it. So she's going to bring the knee all the way up. So now remember this. Balance equals strength. So many people like, hey, that's not enough resistance. Okay, can you balance here? Now let's press both arms overhead as we come up. So imagine you have a 5-pound dumbbell. You could do this to add a little more resistance. Okay? Then we're going to move into a lateral lunge. So face the camera. You're just going to lunge out to the side, lunge down, and come back up and lunge out. So now we're working the inner thighs, we're working the hips, the ankles. Again, you could have a dumbbell in your hand. These are easy ways to engage the legs. Now, one of my favorites for working the hips is the band around the ankles. And you can get these anywhere. So the green is going to be a little bit easier than a red, but I would recommend a green or a red. Now, Kristen's going to line up here. She's going to slide over here. And she's going to do 2 steps to her right and 2 steps to her left. But before she begins, we got to get the alignment. So she's going to squat down to make this more difficult. She's going to put her hands on her hips. She's going to pull her elbows back. She's going to sink down as low as she can. She's going to 2 to the right, big movements, and back to the left. Now when she's doing this, she's going to try to touch her toes together. So I want to get those feet together. Together, right. Because she's working on range. You can make that bigger than that, can't you? Come on, here we go. There we go. Now she can do a smaller range. So again, this works your hips. She could also do this forward. So let's go forward. So this is kind of a monster walk. Fantastic for your hips, your legs, coming back. Ankles, feet. So don't get caught up so much on resistance. Think about range of motion first, how fast or slow I'm going, and then we could add a little bit. All right, let's take that off. The last thing I want you to finish with a little bit of our hamstrings and her butt. So the first thing I want you to do is grab those 5-pound dumbbells again. Now again, you might just be starting out. It might just be a squat. That's it. It might be a squat and a push-up. Could be some simple stuff to do. So again, you don't have to do all this. We're just giving you a variety of different things to look at. So this is called a bent over. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get the feet about hip width apart, turn your toes slightly in, and as I go down, my back is nice and flat. And I'm just going to let my back be really nice and flat. And as I come up, I'm going to pull with my hamstrings, back of my legs, in my rear end, okay? So let's turn you a little sideways. And you're gonna have a nice, perfect back as you go down. So back's nice and flat. And she's gonna get down about right there, and her head's gonna be nice and neutral. And as she comes up, she's gonna pull with her hamstrings and her glutes, okay? So this is a great exercise, very functional. Back down you go, working my lower back. Back up. Down one more time. Now, if I want to add a little bit more to this, we would do the single leg. So this would be a lot harder. So this is a single leg hamstring, and she comes up. So this hard part about this is, can you keep your balance? Right, beautiful. One more time. So these are some real simple lower body exercises. We start with a squat, step back, lateral lunge, tubing side step, and then we add a little hamstring bent over. All right, let's put those away. Now, as we wrap this up, we got to work your core a little bit, don't we? Mm-hmm. So let's get you on the bench again. We could spend all day working core. There's so many different exercises, but I'm going to give you a real simple thing. So I want you to lay right on your back. Now, you can do this right on the floor, or you can do it on a bench. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a straight leg. So the legs are completely straight. Slide down a little bit farther. Yep, just so your head's supported. I want your head supported right there. And all that Kristen's going to do is she's going to keep one leg down, and she's going to bring this leg up. Arms are overhead, straight arm. And she's going to bring the legs up, or one leg up as the arms come up, and she goes down, and she switches legs. This is very easy. Now here's the benefit of this exercise. Full extension. So as she goes up, this is called flexion, and this is called extension. So when you see people in the gym doing all these crunches, they're not getting the full extension. When you get full extension, all these core muscles start engaging, so you don't have to do as much. How's that feeling? Like you're doing something? Mm-hmm. All right, exercise number 2. She's going to bring her legs up. She's going to give you 3 of these. And you can see her feet are slightly higher than her knees, arms overhead. Now as she comes up, the hard part of this exercise is, can you keep your inner thighs together? And if you're doing that, the pelvic floor has to contract. That's a good thing. As she comes up, she's going to take her right hand, crossing her left knee, all the way back down into extension, come up, and you can see she's holding this tight. Don't let the feet drop. That's what makes the exercise hard. Now, if you're just beginning, you want to make it easier, you can just drop the legs down and do the same movement. Much easier. More intensity, up high. And the last one here is I want you to sit right up, put your feet down, scoot off to the end a little bit. And I want Kristen to lean back as far as she can comfortably without losing her alignment, but her arms are out in front, right there. Now, chest high. Now, this sounds simple, but you can see her holding this right now. It's hard. But the key is not letting her back round. So if she rounds her back, that's easy. But when her chest is up and her shoulders are down, back to the scapula, now she's just going to twist, and her head's going to go with her. Now, these are simple exercises we're doing right here, but if it touched her abs right now, these things are working. Fantastic. All right, home stretch here. Let's slip right over on the face down. Hands out here. So again, you can do this right on the floor. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take her shoulder blades, and she's going to come up, round her head, and she's going to come up and fold her back in half. Okay? Round. Now, I like this on the bench better than in the floor, but the floor works fine. So we're just rounding and extending. So all her erector spinae muscles in her back are working. Her legs are engaged. Now, if I want to make this more challenging, I'm going to have her slide off a little bit farther. So now we're adding range, more intensity. Now I'm going to get her legs engaged. So now her legs are up and her legs are apart. And now her hamstrings are working, her butt's working, her lower back's working, and her back is engaged. You don't need to do a lot of these. So this just gives you some variety of different ways to work your core. Now let's put your arms straight out in front of you and just hold it. Now we're going to do a jumping jack. Yep, just like that. So you're just going out and in. Now let's do the same thing with your legs. So legs come apart and together, right? So these are all easy exercises. You don't need a lot of equipment. Working your back, so simple, so easy. Good work. How do you feel? Like
No?
this is the fountain of youth?
Yes, it is.
So again, real simple, basic exercises. Remember, strength training is the fountain of youth. You don't need to do a lot. You just need to do a little bit. Compound interest every day. Amazing what it does for the human body.